to our nation through what I'm doing. I don't want to work for government. What I'm doing, I'm pleased. God has elevated me to the position.
I was just kidding.
Yeah, to the position of a bishop. What else do I need to do? Yeah, I think I can be here and contribute a lot. If I see things going on wrong in the government, I can give an advice. If they listen to me, fine. I don't have to be in the government. Yeah, but I think I'm contributing in my own little corner here to the nation.
Okay, Reverend, let me take you, before I take leave of you, there is this speculation that most Liberian youth are not serious and they cannot compete with their counterpart in the Western region. Do you subscribe to that belief?
Well, that statement would be a kind of general statement. I am a professor at the graduate school. I'm at AME, I'm at Hotel. And so before I started teaching graduate school, I was teaching undergraduate. So it means I've interacted with a lot of young people. That statement, I don't want to use it as a kind of generalized statement. We have some smart Liberians. We have some good young people who are doing extremely well. I don't want to see that our young people are not serious. I think we need to keep on encouraging them. Our challenge we have in this country is our educational system is very poor. We lack standard in most of the time. So I think now the government is trying our best to improve the education system by the recent pronouncement of the government creating a free education system in our higher education. I think that is a welcome initiative. The government need to. While it's true that their focus has to do with roads, they have to put in more to education. But I think our problem we have in this country is that we had a faulty education system, and I wanted to blame the young people that are not serious. A lot of young people are serious, but when you have a faulty system, then you can have a problem with young people trying.
You also own an education institution, so I know you can respond to this question. Back in 2013, our former president then, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, ran the education sector as invest. Now it's a little over 5 years. How do you see the sector? We trade in the same path or more?
I think we are, and for me, I'm an optimist. I subscribe to optimism. I know that things will improve. The government to just turn our attention to education and put in more time and allocate resources. But like I said, we have a faulty education system. More to be done. I've been out of Monrovia into rural Liberia. I have traveled as far as Sando. The things we have, they're not even schools. You cannot run a school where the goats sleeping and the kids going to school. Actually, learning facility need to be decent. All right. So when you talk about learning, access to learning, even the facility, like what I'm saying right here. Our classroom here are all, we have tile like this. We have good ventilation. We have flush toilet. Good blackboard, good lighting system. All of these things contribute to good education. You can't have a children sitting on bricks in a dilapidated building, even no chalk. We need to put in more to education. I understand the government priorities role, but people need to be educated. And so 5 years are gone. I don't think we are right on the track. We are not right on the track yet. The education system is still in a messy situation because we have what we don't even have right that we can't even call it schools because the condition they are in, they are so deplorable. All right, you can't run an institution and put 100 kids in one classroom, 75 kids in one classroom. How do you expect them to learn? Ventilation very important. All right. Teachers need to be paid. Well paid. Another thing I want to say here is that the government needs to pay attention to private institutions. You are sitting in a building here that is close to almost $500,000. I will build. What we say from? We build a building from scratch. We have never received a cent as a help from the government. Yet we're educating girls here. It's a government responsibility. The Constitution provides that the government should educate her citizens. It's not responsibility of a private institution like us, Christian institution like us. We are just filling in. So the government needs to turn our attention to supporting private institutions. They need to give subsidy to people who are doing the work. We don't get that. 11 years now, the school being here, we never get any help from the government.
And you're feeling disappointed?
I am disappointed. Surely I'm disappointed. Anyone can be disappointed. I could decide to use this building for something else. But what happened to these guys? They get on the street, they get pregnant, and then we'll be having social liability. All right? They become problem on the society. They might end up affecting my own children. All right? I can't live in a community where you have children roaming the street because you don't have education, and God has given me the strength to go and find help. That's what I'm doing. But this should be the responsibility of the government. The government should look towards the private institution and learn to give subsidy.
Okay, Reverend, before I forget, I learned that today is your birthday. Happy birthday, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, that's cool. Before I take leave of you, maybe there are so many things that you had on mind at the Night Church. At least I can give you a few minutes to say most of the things that you maybe I did not ask.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your interview for coming. I want to thank you. I'm going to be following you online, and it's a welfare initiative. You see Liberian doing this to get people, on the other side. Yeah. Today being my birthday, I'm excited. I turned 57 today.
Wow.
And it's not heard of most time in our society. Health practitioners say women live, I think men live 48 and women live 52 or whatever, maybe vice versa, because of poor health condition and so forth. But I'm grateful God kept me. I knew He kept me for the purpose. And the purpose is what I'm talking about right now.
Yes.
I gave myself to my country. Well, I may have decided in the past to be out of this country. If I want to, I can be. For the past 18 years, I've been going back and forth in America. And when I chosen to stay in America with my family and live maybe quote unquote better life, and don't be here and go through what I'm going through. But I chose that I will give myself to the nation because the mission, the ministry God has given me, I think is more relevant to my people here than in America. I can go and preach. I've been preaching all over the world. I preach in Israel, I preach in Asia, in America, but I think that God has called me to my people. So even as I celebrate another life, I'm asking God to give me more strength so that I can continue doing what I'm doing. Right now I'm teaching 2 graduate schools, and I say in the past I'm not going to teach again, but when I see young people want to go to ministry and we don't have more doctorate degree holder in the area of theology in our nation, then it forces some of us to go in and help. So I have to go into the graduate school and help so that we can get our people trained. So thank you very much for giving me this platform, and I'm glad that on my birthday I'm able to get this kind of interview.
Thank you very much, and it was nice having you, Reverend.
Thank you.
How do you see what is coming unfolding?
Well, let me speak to that. I'm one person who like to speak to issues when I have concrete information. While it's true that when I speak, people listen to me because of how God placed me in the society. And so I'm mindful to speak. The whole money saga is being kind of challenging. And I'm glad that the investigation is ongoing. And so it is difficult for me to begin to preempt what's going to happen. Well, we've been having misinformation. At one point they said money is missing, at one point they said money is not missing. And that leaves us to wait until the investigation is concluded. I'm glad that the House has some of the people that were involved, like the former bank governor and other people that were involved with this money. And we're looking forward to the time when the investigation will be concluded and the information will be released to the public as to whether the money got missing or as to whether money was not missing. So I don't want to preempt the investigation, but my appeal to the government is that they should do everything possible. Yeah, they should do everything possible to ensure that information is released to the public as to what happened to the money, because it will give our country a better image. Right now, there are people who are willing to come to invest in this country, but when these kind of things are happening, they say negative signal to the people, the investor, to come. So I want to encourage the government to do her best to make sure that they set up an independent inquiry to look into what is happening. Like they have invited some people from overseas to come and look into the money matter. That in the end, they can educate the public that this is what has happened. Whether the money was stolen or not stolen, but at least they can give us insight so that they can allay our fears. So that's what I say on the money issue. I'm looking forward to, I believe in the government. I'm looking forward to their releasing to the public what happened to the money.
Okay. If I got you right, you say you run girls' school, meaning that you are also impacting the life of the youthful generation of the country. So what type of people listening to you? What type of man are you? Are you people center? What type of person are you?
All right. The first thing is that few years ago, maybe about 11 years ago, I was privileged to be trained in Kenya. I returned to this country and I moved to this community, and I realized lots of young girls were all just moving around here. They don't have means to go to school, and that really broke my heart. My wife and I, we felt that would be a good ministry to give hope to young girls. And so for the past 11 years, we have thousands of kids going through the Bridge of Hope Girls School. As I speak right now, some of our girls are in college. They've graduated from the school. They are now in college. Some of them are in America. Some of them are attempting to be a medical doctor. And we feel that that's the way we can contribute and give back to the society. That's how we'll be impacting the life of young girls, as well as young boys. We have a lot of young boys that have gone through this ministry, that life have already been transformed. Some of them are playing key parts in the society. That's how we've been contributing, have been giving back to the society, that what we've been doing in the past years of this ministry.
So you feel proud when you see somebody?
Well, I tell God thank you, and that it can make anyone to be happy when you see that you have impacted lives, and the life is being exemplified before you. And I'm happy when I see the girls that they are not getting pregnant. They are still continuing to go to school. That really brings joy to me.
Okay. Reverend, let me take you around that again. There's the old saying that who much is given, much is expected. Okay. So you are doing so much for the people of this community, like you said. What kind of response are you getting from the community? Your relationship with people in this community, are they cordial? Are they responding to your goodwill?
Well, thank you very much. I moved in this community around 2000, and I want to say that the ministry we run here is a kind of community based. The church you see was constructed about 12 years ago, and it has been a center for most of the community activities. They're having induction ceremony. People want to use it. Maybe we have a government official coming here. We use it. So we have been having cordial relationship with the community, and the school. For the fact that the school is a tuition-free school,
wow!
We have allowed the parents to really own the school, because we are doing it for their sake. Yeah, most of the parents here are not working and looking at economic conditions in our society. We feel that God has given us strength. We can get out there and lobby, so that their kids can go to school. So we've been having a kind of cordial working relationship with the community. We stay encouraging to do more, because what we expect from them is that they will come on campus and be of encouragement to the teachers that are more or less volunteering to help teach their kids. Some of them are not full-family, but we pray that they will come to understand that what we're doing for them, they can appreciate that.
So the school, like I just heard something from you that is a tuition-free school.
Yeah, we're running a tuition-free school here. That will be for the past 11 years. The girls we have here, they are not just regular school girls, so to speak. Because we are not running a conventional school here. We are running what we call transformational school. So most of the girls you see here, most of them are orphans. Most of them they live with extended parents or foster parents. These are girls who parents live in a rural part and they send them to Monrovia. Go and stay with your uncle and nephew.
Yeah.
The uncle and nephew takes his biological children, send them to the private school, and then take the extended children family and send them to government school. That's where our ministry comes in. We feel that these children deserve better education. And I will even encourage you, if you have time, to go and assess our building. I think you passed through.
Yeah.
They have a very good place to sit down, large classroom, 25 person in a class. Our class are not overcrowded. All right. Our teachers are paid on time. We don't entertain bribery here. We don't entertain sexual harassment. No teacher take money for student. If we hear that, you are dismissed. And so as a result, we keep hard academic standard and high moral standard here.
What's the level of the school?
We are up to 9th grade, and our students have already been doing well in the national exam.
From nursery to 9th grade?
No, from 1st grade to 9th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. So, Reverend, what one may say someone giving all need, maybe are you eyeing some political positions someday,
No.
someday, or you are just doing it because you got love for children and you got love for the people of Liberia?
From the beginning of the interview, I told you that I was giving back to my country. Yeah. Since the Civil War, I've been in this country. I was here and I went through the crisis.